Okay, welcome everybody. I will call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Young. Here. Mr. Rainier.
Here.
Mrs. Psalm. Here. Mr. Sharp.
Here.
Mr. Kern.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item is to approve the agenda as presented, and you have the updated one, just a couple minor highlighted items we will go through. Is there a motion? Just moves. Second? Around seconds. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Rainier.
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm.
Yes.
Mrs. Young. Yes. Mr. Sharp.
Yes. Consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the previous meeting, approved the certified substitute list number 3 as submitted by the Treasury County ESC for 2020 and 2021, which is attachment 2, and from the Pickaway County ESC list for October, which is attachment 3. And then finally to approve resignation and retirements. First resignation of Brian DeLong, intervention specialist, effective 9/13. Resignation of Kelly Baxton, educational aide, effective 9/17. And retirement of Peggy Hinton, cook cashier, effective 12/1. Is there a motion? Moves there, second, around the seconds. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Young.
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm.
Yes.
Mr. Rainier.
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes. Public participation. Got 3, and Josie, are you doing an FFA?
Yes,
Okay.
I have to.
So why don't you go ahead and do it?
On behalf of the student body, I'd like to talk about the short cycle assessments that were going on this week. Students were tested throughout the week in various subjects, and those will close on Friday. Along with Friday is the end of the first 9 weeks. And then I urge all of you to get involved with the fair this upcoming week. Many students have fair projects that will be shown, as well as the band has a fair show Thursday morning in the Battle of the Bands. And we are also set to march in Pumpkin Show Thursday the 21st. The Fall Choir Concert is October 26th. Last week, all eligible students were registered to vote in the upcoming election. And then I also urge you all to watch out for senior nights for all fall sports that are upcoming. A couple have passed, but we do definitely have many more to come. And as well, Tuesday, the Science Club held a blood drive. And then on behalf of the FFA, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Josie Speakman. I'm here on behalf of the Amanda-Clearcreek FFA chapter. Tonight I will be providing you with a recap of our chapter activities and successes from the past month. The state forestry team placed in the top 10 in state. The Ohio Legislative Leadership Conference, we had 5 members of our officer team go to the Capitol building and meet with various legislators. We got to learn a lot about the legislative process from some of our local representatives, which was amazing. We also held the FFA Foundation 5K. We participated as a fundraiser for the FFA Foundation. We hosted a cookout after. It was a great time. We had ag breakfast last Friday at Frisch's in Lancaster. Our chapter job interview contest was recently held. We had our contest to pick our CDE team for the upcoming CDE. Our members include Maddie Cordell, Madeline Anderson, Hannah Sam, and Sarah Sharp. Important upcoming dates, October 11th to the 15th is our fair break. Members have projects coming up, an electrical, some wiring, and it also looks like some welding. October 18th is our ice cream social for new members, and as well our monthly meeting. And then October 27th to the 30th is National Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana. And in closing, I want to thank you all for your support. We definitely could not do all the activities that we do without you, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Josie.
Thank you. All right, I've got 3 names down for public participation. Corey, are you?
For real this time.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna try to read my own writing, but,
So I read on here that it asked about public participation as far as talking about special education funding. And I contemplated maybe not talking, but I figured when there's really great people here to talk about in open forum things that they need for their kids, I thought it was important for me to speak. So I'm going to. I wanted to point out first that the first goal that's noted on the agenda, the first goal is academic opportunities. It states at Amanda-Clearcreek School District, local, we offer diverse curriculum, support and retain high quality staff, and provide resources to ensure every student meets their full potential. So if you do not fully understand special education, are you able to ensure that every student receives the support they need for them to realize their full potential? For a student on an IEP or with special education needs, their support is likely to be multifaceted. So to not take the time to ensure their supports are implemented and their needs are met is to not help them reach their full potential. I am a parent here today who wants to ensure that my child has every tool he needs to succeed. I know I am not the only parent here who feels that their child's full potential has not been supported here at Amanda. If Amanda-Clearcreek Schools is to, quote, provide all students the opportunity to aspire, create, empower, and exceed, as the mission statement states, then all tools for that must be in place. This includes having faith, a free, appropriate public education for a student with special education needs as required by IDEA law. This may look like a one-on-one aid, a modified curriculum, integration with their peers instead of segregation, and continued education for all educator staff to ensure all understanding at all complex needs of a child with a disability. To give you an idea of where I feel we have struggled in the past, my child's needs are similar but different from peers, where he needs a modified curriculum. Modified work entails taking the material his peers are receiving in a general education classroom and meeting him where he is educationally by having his special education team work in tandem with the general education teachers. Prior to the gen ed lesson, Christian's work is modified into a way that he can understand and still work within the classroom alongside his peers without interruption and gain the full benefit from being in an inclusive classroom. I have struggled at seeing the cohesion in general in special education and that children need to be included and not secluded. Peer interaction and influence is important to all children in a learning environment. Not having prepared modified work in front of him while he is in general education classes is not conducive to learning. My question is to you board members, is if the Amanda-Clearcreek Schools core values truly are, we believe in success as a school district is shared responsibility of students, home, staff, and community. We believe each of our students will graduate prepared to enter society as a critical, independent thinkers. We believe all our students can learn when provided a safe environment that values and respects them as individuals. How are you members ensuring this for all students with special education needs? And if you do not know the answers to these questions, then I implore you to find the answers. It is one thing to make that statement, but it's quite another to make that statement a reality. If these are the truly the Amanda-Clearcreek goals, then I believe this exactly aligns with the goal of every other parent, and it is our duty to work together to ensure that these goals are met. My challenge is this, that all of us join together as a team to make your mission statement the reality for all students. That all of us across all platforms work together as a comprehensive educational team, that we have proper preparation, implementation, and follow-up as the Amanda-Clearcreek vision statement states, to lead with innovation, commit to excellence, and unite in purpose. In closing, as a district, we are not close to where we need to be. The letter of finding provided to you by Sarah Keene a couple weeks ago from the Ohio Department of Education tells us that. I ask that as board members, you are actively aware of any formal complaint made in the form of a state complaint filed with the Ohio Department of Education in the Office of Exceptional Children, and letter of findings or filing of due process for a legal claim and resolution claim violation of faith. The agenda quotes the third goal of Amanda-Clearcreek's goals, growth and change, and it states, with a mindset of growth and change, Amanda-Clearcreek Local uses best practices and relevant evidence to innovate and build a school community that is successful today and will be tomorrow. We have an incredible opportunity here, you guys. The funds to support the special education program here at Amanda-Clearcreek is substantial. And the agenda says that input regarding this is welcome, and I hope you still feel that way. A little nervous, hope it was taken well. I have this. I am very busy, but I know you guys are. I have ideas. I have thoughts. There are groups. There are people that have ideas and thoughts. And parents want to work with the school, and they want to get their kids the same that everybody else gets. And I just implore you guys, if you don't know, just educate yourselves or ask somebody that does know something. When I came into this with Christian, I didn't know anyone with Down syndrome. I didn't understand what modified curriculum looked like. I didn't understand what he was able to do. Yesterday, he got a tackle on the football team. So, you know, these kids can really do anything, and we can spend the money now. We can spend it later, a lot more of it, or these kids can be really independent. And I know at least for my son, he can be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the public participation list, that's a tough, is Kathy Ball.
Hello, everyone. I would like to address once again what I did last month under the topic, start talking on the AC homepage, define racial terms to teens. By allowing these racial terms on the AC homepage, you are promoting these terms. AC schools should lead by example and not tolerate any racial terms. I challenge parents, students, and members of the community to come to the next board meeting and share you do not want AC schools defining racial terms, or propose we put on next month's school board meeting agenda a vote to define words on the homepage like faith, unity, fellowship, U.S. Constitution, and God. If we are going to define racial terms on our school's homepage, then we should have a contrasting thought so that the school is not promoting taking a stance on either side. The school needs to remain neutral on these highly controversial and politicized topics. The National Education Association, the nation's largest teachers union, in July approved to promote CRT in all 50 states, including 14,000 public school districts. CRT, critical race theory, is literally on the doorstep on the school's homepage under the topic Start Talking, listed where it says, no to define racial terms for teens. These terms include white fragility, systemic racism, and white privilege. It sure sounds an awful lot like the framework of CRT. If you're white, you're a racist. If you're anything else, you're a victim. The content of your character, your God-given talents, and life experiences, frankly, don't matter. We are all presumed guilty or innocent of discrimination based on one thing, the color of our skin. Again, instead of defining racial terms on the Amanda-Clearcreek school homepage, we should be defining the words faith, unity, fellowship, U.S. Constitution, and God.
Thank you. The third person is Vicki Patrick.
Yes. First of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I was down to see you guys last month. On the morning of, I was told not to come, that I needed to speak with the superintendent first. I did make that appointment with him. It didn't, it's just my thoughts. It didn't seem like he was prepared. And we were supposed to have a follow-up meeting. I set my availability and I haven't heard anything since. So here I am today to talk about my issues and concerns with my granddaughter that I have custody of, and Miracle Drummond's. Her preferred name is Amy May, so that's how I will address her from here on out. Amy May, she's 5 years old. She's autistic. She's nonverbal. She went to Amanda-Clearcreek since May of 2018 through May of 2021 through the Learning Steps preschool. She was very successful. They were wonderful for her. We started talking about the transition to kindergarten, probably even before March because I was concerned, but definitely in March when she had her IEP. And I was told it would be a smooth transition from the Learning Step preschool over into the kindergarten. And that they had the IEP. So the IEP was signed by an Amanda-Clearcreek staff, so I was told that. And then I actually called to schedule because that's what I was told to do. So when I called or got an email said that I needed to schedule, and I do have the proof of all of my emails and the IEP for each of you. But I got an email in April 16th that said they're very well aware of Amy May. They've got her IEP, that when she comes in August, they will have a intervention specialist present, and they would do an adaptive screening to see what her needs are for kindergarten. So again, I called to make for sure, and I was told everybody knows Amy May. They know she needs one-on-one. They have the IEP. Just come August 17th, bring my paperwork, good to go. August 17th comes, I'm blindsided. When we get there, I think it's an evaluation meeting, but it's kindergarten, regular kindergarten evaluation. And Amy May was scheduled for regular kindergarten. Imagine my surprise. And the teachers. So they agreed this was not the appropriate setting for Amy May. No one was there. Of course, it was orientation, so nobody was there for me to talk to about it. So I did call my Fairfield County Coordination Service, told her about the mix-up. No matter how proactive I was, and I was extremely proactive because I was worried about the transition, she still fell through the cracks. So the Fairfield County said she would set up a meeting with the team to see what happened so we can move on with the IEP. I did get an email that said for her not to come to orientation. Then I got a phone call from the principal that was very apologetic and very nice. She said somehow Amy May was dropped through or miscommunicated is what it was. Was miscommunicated that she was registered for regular kindergarten, that she could start to school on that next Friday, and that she would be in a special needs class with an aide and teachers. Just put her on the bus, she'll be fine. I wasn't comfortable with that. I wanted to meet the teacher, I wanted to meet the aide, I wanted to drop off her supplies, and I wanted Amy May to have some kind of orientation to her room. So when we got there, blindsided again, I realized she doesn't have a one-on-one aide. It would be a teacher, 2 aides, wonderful staff, not anything against them, but it would be too much for them to handle Amy May and the other 9 students. The principal and the teacher agreed that was not an appropriate setting for Amy May. So I get all my information, go to the meeting, explaining why she needs a one-on-one, right? Which is clearly in her IEP. That was signed already. So we get to the one-on-one, and it was reviewed. The busiest times of the least busiest times of the classroom would be 8:30 to 10:15. Maybe Amy May could come during those times for 10 days and be reevaluated. I have since learned, since I've talked to the Ohio Department of Education, that's unlawful. Amy May could attend Lancaster City Schools. They have all the bells and whistles for what she needs. Maybe she could come back to Amanda-Clearcreek in grade 3. Now, remind me, I'm sitting there, I just said why she needed, the IEP. We want her to go to Amanda. There's no reason why Amanda can't meet her needs. And I'm just blindsided and listening. I don't know what to say at this point, right? If she attended Lancaster City School, the issue and the cost would fall on transportation. Amy Mae could be self-transported on Wednesdays from 3 to 3:45, so she can get her PT, speech therapy, occupational therapy, and that due date was pending, and I have not heard anything since. I've asked for when will that start, and that was back then in August. I was told Amy Mae's attendance would not be held against her, and so far it has not. That's been fine. I was told staffing was an issue. There's no available one-on-one aides. They were trying to hire. If I knew anyone, to let them know. So again, blindsided because I'm thinking I need to defend why she needs a one-on-one aide, not that she needs to go somewhere else. And it would be easier for Amanda if I said yes, but it would not be the best for Amy Mae. This is her district. This is her home. She's been to Amanda-Clearcreek. She's been very successful there. So I'm fighting for her to come back here to school. Possible resolutions, I sent an email. I have interested parties that were interested in the aide position. I even said my husband or I would volunteer to come in so we could be with her aide so she can get started until they got someone. I asked what are the aide's requirements and where could they apply? I didn't get anything back. The only thing I got back was that the interested party was not a good candidate, which was a maternal grandmother, but then again, I don't know still what the requirements are. So I searched on the Amanda-Clearcreek website to see if I could get the posting. There was no postings for an aide position. So here, guys, is where we are. I'm beyond disappointed and frustrated with how my child's case has been handled here with Amanda-Clearcreek, with the transition that was supposed to be a smooth transition over. There's been no accountability. There's been no resolution. Meanwhile, my child is denied her rightful education. I'm here to fight for my child. My choice and our choice is still Amanda-Clearcreek. The staff here is well capable of taking care of her. They will meet her needs. I have no doubt about that. Amanda-Clearcreek is responsible to honor that current IEP. I know it was developed in Lancaster City. We live in Amanda-Clearcreek. This is where she goes, and you guys are responsible to meet that. That would include her goals, her therapies, her aid, and to attend regular hours. And she's missed 3 months of school. So now that we've missed 3 months of school, I'm requesting extended school year because she's gonna need that. I want that started planning now. I don't wanna wait till the end of the year and say, we don't have staffing for that. I want that planned for immediately. I request planning time to be added for that. I request you guys to look at reimbursement for that. I am her voice. She is my heart. Yes, she's nonverbal, autistic, but she knows what's going on. She knows her siblings are in school. I lived here for 15 years. I have sent 3 children through school. I still have 2 here. This is their home. Moving is not an option. This is where we want to go. So I want to work with Amanda-Clearcreek to resolve this. So I'm asking the board to look into this situation, look at my concerns, get a resolution. I'm going to leave my questions that I've carried in my heart since August with each of you, okay? You guys are taking this. I turn it over to God. I'm turning it to you. These are my questions. How did this happen? When I proactively worked so hard, something happened. Find out what happened. Who's accountable? Fix it. Don't push it off on somebody else. If you did it, I did it. Fix it. When and how will this end? When will she get her education? And what will that look like? Will she be retaliated against because I stood up for her? I mean, these are questions that I have, real concerns. Will Amy Mae ever be allowed to be with her peers? She's already missed the first day of school. She's missed fall pictures. Again, she may be nonverbal, autistic. She knows what's going on. She gets her book bag in the mornings and she reaches for the bus. When we go by the Amanda-Clearcreek Primary School, she's reaching for the school. When we went to visit the classroom, she immediately got in the chair, excited to be in school. She needs school. I can only do so much. I need the professionals that are here that can help me, her speech, the teachers. Again, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just being a parent. I need support from the school. Am I asking the school to do everything? No, I will do stuff at home, but we need to work together. So, my last question for you is, when will Amy May stop being denied the opportunities and the education that she deserves? Her peers have started school since August 17 or 16. We had nothing, no resolution at all. So I'm bringing this to your attention again. And her voice, she is my heart. I'm asking the board to look into this situation for resolution, accountability, so we can move on, work together, so she can have an education here at Amanda-Clearcreek. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have the IEP and emails if you would like to have them. I would like for someone to have them, please.
I will take them if you want me to take them.
There's 4 copies. I would like to have it distributed, please.
I know we had time for executive session to discuss this, so I would ask if that's what you were wanting to talk about. Obviously, I assume it was.
It was.
That we'll do afterwards, and there can be more conversation then.
So you're asking me to stay afterwards?
Yes. If you have time.
Yeah, well, that's,
I'll make time.
yeah, because that was, that's how we had it on the agenda, was to do.
I didn't know
session
that.
at the end,
I didn't know that.
Sorry.
I thought Mrs. Fine said contact, that's fine.
That's fine. Yes, I'm more than willing to stay.
Okay, that's all I had for public participation. So we will move on to Treasury report and recommendations.
So, because we moved the meeting forward, so tonight, due to the Fairfield County Fair, I emailed you those reports yesterday, so I hope you had time to review them. Let me pull it up. Maybe. Okay, so the month of September, I wanted to let you know that I was hoping that we'd have more information on the fair school funding plan. However, I did send you an email that got pushed back till December, so the state has not rolled that out yet, so we're still pretty much we're being funded exactly like we were. They will catch us up once they get caught up. So fiscal year 22 will look as they have told us it would look, it just, they haven't started it yet. So, first thing that I wanted to look at was our revenues for September were $895,000. We did not have any taxes, income, or real estate this month, so that's basically just foundation payments and then any other tuition, open enrollment, preschool if you have. They are slightly less than September of 2020, and that's basically open enrollment and foundation payments. The difference in those. And again, the foundation payments aren't necessarily what we will ultimately end up receiving. They pretty much just frozen everything and are giving us what we had gotten before until they can get the new plan in place in December. So that's kind of like the little difference there. I don't find it too concerning that we're $115,000 short of where we were last year, because that would be made up. Expenditures were $1.298 million. And they are down about $477,000 over last year, which is significant, and that is basically $352,000 of that was purchase services. I did provide you a report at the end of this report that gave you those details of purchase services so you could see exactly, because that was a pretty significant figure. We were able to successfully, Mr. Dick and I, negotiate with the ESC, so they have completely changed their billing countywide. Some other superintendents and treasurers also were on board with that. So we have not received any bills yet to date for special ed, which is our biggest cost to the ESC, as we have moved those services in-house to provide better service, for one, and have more control over those. So, those bills will continue to stay, or those costs and expenses will continue to stay low. But we haven't got the first billing yet for this year because they actually are billing real time versus estimating and billing us ahead of time. And then doing an adjustment at the end of the year. So overall, salary and benefits are continuing to be our largest expenditures, and our general fund expenses exceed our revenues by about $400,000, which we expect that in months that we don't receive any real estate or income tax, and that actually is less of a loss than September 2020. I'm going to make sure I word that correctly. So that means we're doing the right thing. So we're going in a positive direction. Do you have any questions about overall the financial reports? I don't know what else was on my thing, because I know I have, oh, that was it. The other that we'll talk about, the 5-year forecast I have later under new business. So, and we did get the appropriations, the permanent appropriations filed with the county auditors. I appreciate you guys coming into that meeting. With the changes in staffing, I wanted to wait till the first payroll of September was done and make sure that those were a little more accurate. So I appreciate your patience with that. I know that it's a pain to come in an extra time just to go over those. So thank you for that. I think that's all I have, unless there are any questions.
Is there a motion to accept financial reports? Justin moves, is there a second?
Second.
Sue seconds, any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Renier,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes. All right, thank you. Superintendent report.
All right, I would like to recommend we approve the following classified contracts for the 2021-2022 school year. One-on-one education aide, Misty Conkle, Kristen Crumley, Claire Humes, Rodney Thompson, and, okay, that's for that first motion. I'm sorry, then we'll go to the second page too. Preschool classroom educational aide, Megan Furrow, one-year educational classroom aide, Madeline Price, substitute educational aide, Tony Davis, Megan Campbell, Veronica Andrews, and Lindsay Stapleton. Substitute bus drivers pending completion for requirements to drive a bus, James Justice and Jordan Carroll, and substitute secretary, Lindsay Stapleton.
Okay, is there a motion on? Robin moves, is there a second? Sue seconds, discussion?
This helps move us towards where we need to be in regards to items that were discussed this evening earlier. So we're getting very close to having everybody in place.
Yeah, discussion? All right, roll call?
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mr. Renier,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
I'd like to recommend we approve the following certificated contracts. High school math teacher Brittany Baldo.
Is there a motion?
Move.
Justin moves, is there a second? Robin seconds, discussion?
This helps cover one of the resignations we accepted earlier in the season.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Renier,
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
I would like to recommend that we approve the 2021-2022 volunteers as was list presented.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, so yes. Is there a motion? Sue moves, is there a second? Robin seconds, discussion?
This takes many of our classrooms that we're finally glad to get people back into, and it takes care of our FFA. Many times without our volunteers, I know we couldn't do some of the things we do in FFA in our classrooms as well. But very much appreciate all the effort everybody gives there.
Just echo what JB says, always appreciate the volunteers and all the help they give us. Any other discussion? All right, roll call?
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mr. Renier,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
All right, I'd like to recommend we approve the 2021-22 supplemental contracts with middle school boys basketball 8th grade Tracy Sharp. And the board has offered the position of freshman volleyball coach and middle school boys basketball coach, both 7th grade, to employees of the district have a license, and no such employee qualified for the positions except further the positions were advertised as available to any individual with a license who is qualified to fill them and is not employed by the Board of Education. Now, I'd like to recommend high school freshman volleyball coach Katie Davis, middle school boys basketball coach Josh Case, and high school varsity boys assistant basketball coach Austin Smith.
Motion. Justin moves. Second. Robin seconds. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend we approve a 3-year sports medicine service agreement with Fresno Medical Center, commencing with the contract and then signed both parties starting, and this should be in the first year ever.
Is there a motion?
I move.
Justin moves. Second. Robin seconds. Discussion.
We've been very happy with the athletic training program that they've sent to us over the last several years, so look forward to working with them.
Mr. Dig, I saw something about maybe a change, and it might even be, if it's on here, I didn't think it was, but with how our trainers, they have to work with a doctor, did they not have to before or something like that? There was a change.
We've always worked with the team
Okay.
position.
Gotcha.
That trainers always work with our,
Always,
or
okay.
vice versa, however it works, but
Gotcha. And it might have been something, not even with us, but I had read about with like Ohio high school, because I thought, I wonder if that will affect us, but I kind of assumed we always were.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
all right, I would like to recommend we approve an MOU with AC, Amanda-Clearcreek Support Staff Association in regards to sick leave and vacation leave to switch from sick leave and vacation leave being taken in half-day increments to hourly increments for the 21-22 school year, effective 10/7/21.
Is there a motion? So moves. Second. Robin seconds. Discussion.
This matches the language that we approved for the teachers last month.
All right, roll call.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm?
Yes.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
All right, I'd like to recommend we approve for all employees not represented by an association to switch from sick leave and vacation leave being taken in half-day increments to hourly increments for the 21-22 school year, effective 10/7/21.
I'll move. Justin moves. Is there a second? Sue seconds. Discussion.
This would encompass everyone now except for the bus drivers, and the bus drivers have talked about not doing it because of, they don't have a large increment of hours to, we hurt ourselves, I think, trying to find 2-hour people to work for, so.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
I would like to recommend we approve the creation of a team leader position for the preschool.
Motion. Robin moves. Second. Sue seconds. Discussion.
We have a team leader in every grade level, K through 5, and a content leader 6 through 12. So when we created the preschool, we did not take action then. If it is approved, we will have to post the position tomorrow.
It's a new phone.
Any other discussion? It's a supplemental, right?
Yes, it is my position.
Okay. Roll call.
Mrs. Psalm?
Yes.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Transportation Committee report. Mr. Sharp, do you want to give that?
All right, we met before this meeting to with Jordan Lee to discuss transportation issues. Items on the agenda, the first was the discussion of the possibility of building a utility building for down in the bus parking lot area. We've got a lot of stuff currently, you rattle off the list of all, but it's a lot of items we've got that are currently sitting outside, basically. And so thought of building a small building to house that stuff would help with longevity and so forth, and also give some other options for some other things too. So they are getting pricing on a 40 by 50 and a 30 by 50 stick-built building. Probably wouldn't need any concrete on the floor, just the gravel surface, since it's, a lot of outdoor type things for the most part. Would be what all that was needed. Probably likely be a fully enclosed with sliding doors, and it would need electricity would be all. So, so they're just getting prices on that to bring forward, so we can discuss that possibility down the road. So, the second item was they wanted to move the gas tank that's down there over by the diesel tank, basically just for more efficient use of space. They would both be there together. They could likely do the move on their own. The only thing that would possibly be needed would be electric service to run the pump for that. But if it's over by the diesel tank, there's a good chance they could just run it off the box there. So it really wouldn't be a whole lot involved with that. So they discussed that, which would probably be a summertime thing, I think they mentioned. There are 2 buses that we ordered in March that Jordan thought pretty good chance they would be coming soon, or was it you that mentioned that?
Jordan mentioned.
Jordan mentioned that. He thought they
I called to get the bus number. That's
yeah, that's what he said. They called to get to see what bus numbers we wanted for them, I guess. And that's usually a pretty good sign they're getting close to being here. So, so those are going to be pursued, which is good with our aging fleet. Spring of 2022, we do have in the capital plan to add a van and a bus that would be delivered after July of 2022, so fall in the fiscal year 23. We may look at getting the van sooner because the one was totaled. We got insurance money for that, although the challenge could be the fact that we can't find one because there's not a lot of them available. So he was going to look into potentially ordering that, because right now we've only got the one van to do special things in terms of taking people that doesn't, without a bus. So if he can locate one, then we may look into moving that purchase up, since we've got the insurance money to cover a big chunk of it. He wanted to move the DEF or DEF tank from the current location. Again, just for efficiency of space, but that may be fall into, if we end up with that new utility building, it may be over there. And so that's going to be a discussion for down the road. The other thing that just came up yesterday is that one of the cylinders on their lift, they use to lift the buses up to do all the maintenance and everything on it, apparently has a leak. And so the hydraulic is all out of it. And so it's not functional at the moment, which is not a good thing. And so he is getting some pricing for that in terms of what it would cost to fix that versus a new one, since the old one's 20 years old, and just kind of what those options would look like. We also discussed the possibility of, if they need something to be able to lift the buses for the next month or 2, or however long it might take for that to happen, because he said it probably wouldn't be able to happen real quick, whichever option went. Would it be possible to rent one from somewhere for a month or 2 if need be, to do some of the maintenance on the buses if they can't get underneath and weld up without the lift? So that is a issue that sprung up that will need resolved. And so again, he's getting pricing options on what that could be. A bus lift, probably not a cheap proposition discussed, unfortunately. So we'll see what those different options look like. That's what I had down from the transportation meeting. Anybody else?
I just thought it was interesting that that lift is used every day. It's in continual.
Yeah, so I asked how often does that get used? I said just always, pretty much, in terms of changing oils, doing brake work, doing stuff with tires, pretty much everything they do, they use up there. Okay.
Legislative liaison report, Mr. Kern.
A lot of the focus at the State House right now is been following this the vaccine bill, House Bill 435, which would prohibit businesses and schools from requiring vaccines if they have not achieved full approval by the FDA. So it's lots of hearings and time being spent at the State House on this issue. It would impact schools pretty directly. And then the other piece I wanted to highlight today, Senate Bill 1 passed the legislature, is waiting the governor's signature now, require a new new curriculum requirement for financial literacy. So a half credit financial literacy would be required to be taught. And we kind of have this now, but not in an as direct way. So this bill would require the half credit to be taught as a specific elective or incorporated into a math course. So right now, you can meet your financial literacy requirement in the statute in a much broader way under a whole host of other class offerings. Now, if the governor signs this bill and becomes law, either has to be a standalone elective or incorporated into a math class. And then the other piece of this is the requirement that schools starting, I think, the 24-25 school year must have a teacher that has a certification on their licensure to teach financial literacy. So they either have to test out and take a test and pass a test to achieve that certification on their licensure, or if they do not pass the test, there's a short training program, certification program that they could attend to get their certification. So a new curriculum requirement will take some effort for us to get a teacher certified for it here in the out years. Not a mandate that we have to jump to tomorrow, but it is something that's new. So,
Mr. Hinton, do we teach financial literacy in a standalone elective now, right?
yeah. Okay. So we're good. Other than getting the teacher.
Yeah. Thank you. Student Achievement Liaison Report, Mr. Renier.
I don't have anything significant to report this evening.
Thank you. Building Principal Report, Mrs. Cochran.
Sure. Okay, so at the middle school, we have a lot going on. Tomorrow, Thursday, is week 5 of our dodgeball incentive, so our kids are loving it. I know I've talked about this before, but we have incentivized students who've had good behavior and have submitted, their work that do not have missing assignments. So we go out on the front field and during our elective period, and the kids get to participate in. I say dodgeball, I meant to say kickball. My mind's on dodgeball because guess what's coming up next? So we organized that in our building leadership team meeting yesterday, and that will start after fair break. After a couple weeks off in fair, but it'll be another incentive for our middle school students. Recap on literacy night. So last week we did host a K-5 literacy or a K-8 literacy night. So I just want to say thank you to those teachers who took the time to organize that event and participated. And it was really exciting to see families back in the building and kids excited. This Friday is the end of our 9-week grading period. As Josie mentioned earlier, our middle school students are also completing short cycle assessments. So tomorrow is the last one. And here it's going well so far. So we'll see what the results look like in comparison to what's been taught this 9 weeks. Fair break is next week, so I want to wish everybody who's participating in fair good luck, because I know we've had a lot of students that work really hard on the projects. Just a reminder to parents that grade cards do go home on Thursday, October 21st, so we're not in school on that Friday. Another exciting event at middle school is our middle school dance. So that'll be a fun one coming up. And
When is it?
What?
When is the dance?
October 21st.
I will make sure.
6 to 8.
Do you need chaperones?
Yes. We do have many teachers who are volunteering their time, but yeah, the kids are excited.
So if grade cards go home the same night as the dance, how might that impact some kids going to the dance?
And then, oh, yes, 2 more things. In our BLT meeting yesterday, we discussed our first quarter incentive trip. So that's in the works. I got a couple phone calls to make, but that will be announced very soon as to where we are going. as a group. So again, to recognize the students who are doing the right things and earning good grades. And then finally, this will be announced here soon, but our community service class has been working extremely hard, and we have an event coming up to recognize the local heroes. So that'll take place here in a couple weeks at our last home football game. So.
Thank you. Mr. Brozovich.
We have two new members of our staff. Lasso and Morris are our two social emotional therapy animals. They have been working with a trainer and members of our teaching staff to familiarize themselves with our school, so it's exciting. Friday is the end of the 9 weeks, so students and staff are finishing up their lessons and performing benchmark assessments. The staff is excited to see how our students have grown from the start of the school year. Friday is also our fall festival put on by our PTO. We have 20 stations planned for this event. Thank you to the PTO and many of the parent volunteers that are helping in this event. Lots of them were approved this evening. October 21st at 8 a.m. is our KISS breakfast that's been scheduled. So families will be back in the building with our kiddos that day. That's going to be all the way from the primary and the elementary students are going to be part of that. The same week, our fourth graders will be partnering with the Mid-Ohio Psychological Services of Fairfield County on a program called Brain Power. Brain Power is the 6 lessons on how amazing our brains are and what happens to them when drugs and alcohol are introduced to the systems. Third graders will be taking the fall air test on October 26th and 28th. And we'll wrap up the month with our awards assembly in the morning on October 29th and our Halloween activities in the afternoon.
Thank you. Mrs. Fraley.
All right, so the primary is rocking. The students are coming in happy. The staff is thrilled to be there and just work hard every day, which is nice to see. We've had people out here and there, and I love because people are always willing to step up and help out when they need to. Especially as we've got some new people coming in, showing them the ropes and things like that. Lots of good things are happening. Kids are being put first, and that's what it's all about. Real quick, I want to highlight, we're doing afternoon clubs with our special teachers. So we've got our art hub with Mrs. Gull, and then we have Morgan's Muscle Men and Bennett Buddies. So those clubs are just short 20 minutes at the end of the day. And what's cool about them is it's all about building relationships, getting kids in small groups to build their confidence, to highlight what they're really good at, and give them a chance to build a relationship with another adult outside their classroom teacher, myself, and other people they connect with throughout the day. Let's see, our teacher of the month at the primary was Becky Willard, and our support staff of the month was Becky Pierce. I thought it was great that it was both Becky's, because when I saw all the reasons that they were picked, it was all the same things. Their dedication, they work hard, they're positive. You ask them to do anything and they're willing to pitch in and help at any time. So I love that all the results from them, and they're both so humble. Becky Willard, one of the perks is parking in a parking spot, labeled Teacher of the Month. And she said, I can't do that. And I said, yes, you can. We want you to do that. You earned it from your fellow peers. You earned it. Becky Pierce, I'll be taking her for a Subway lunch. But their hard work and dedication oozes, and it's contagious, which is something that I really enjoy. Couple things we're really working hard is getting people back into school when possible, when it's safe for our students. So we've got the KISS breakfast coming up. It's a great opportunity for families to come in and be a part of our school community. Super games, I am excited about that on Friday. Crossing my fingers that the rain will hold off. But if it comes, we will still have a good time as long as there's no lightning. Parents, we're gonna let them know to send a full change of clothes. We've got to do a wardrobe change after our super games. We'll do it and we'll have a good time with it. Quarterly awards are going to be coming up as well. Also our Chickaboom Awards. We're trying to just make things safe and presentable so that people can come in whenever possible. I have to laugh because at lunch today, I had all the students come up that are planning taking an animal or a project to the fair next week. Several students came up. So I was like, okay, say what you were gonna take. So we got a cow here, we got a horse here. This kid said, I might take my dog. And all of a sudden, I didn't preface it with like just going to the fair. So it was very interesting, all the different animals that might go or might not go to the fair. But I can tell our students are very excited to go to the fair. So good luck to all of our kiddos.
Also, good luck to all of our Little Miss Pumpkin Show candidates for our second grade little girls. The week after, they'll be going to represent Amanda, so that's exciting as well. And also thanks to all the volunteers and all the teachers for lit night and for being willing to get wet on Friday at Super Games. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hinton, it'll be posted to the website here soon. We just advertised it. In lieu of, with Veterans Day and things coming up, we have our National Honor Society and AC Community Cares for grades 6 through 8 are accepting donations for military care packages. So there'll be information posted to the website, hopefully tomorrow, that you can donate. They can donate to any one of the social studies teachers in grades 6 through 8. And then we're also doing a coin collection for a competition to purchase honor flights. So that's headed up by our National Honor Society through AC Community Care. So that's kind of something exciting this time of year coming up. Our November Aces Way night is going to be done early this month. We have our FAFSA night. That is our Aces Way night. So FAFSA night will be November 3rd here at the school from 5 to 6 p.m. So we'll start to advertise that here in the next week or so for our FAFSA night coming up. Girls soccer's at 3-0.
We're at 3-0?
Girls are 3-0. Beating Logan, so it's good.
Wait, no, Michelle.
Anytime we beat Logan, I'm in it.
All right, new business.
Thank you all. First item, new business, approved agreement with the Recovery Center to provide mental health services for 21-22. It's attachment 6. Was there a motion? Justin moves. Is there a second? Robin seconds. Discussion?
This is our attempt to provide the needed mental health at our 6 through 12 grade levels. Not that we wouldn't use them for K-5, but PK-5, but we have a few more people at the PK-5 with our SEL teacher, our school social worker, to provide those services that we do not have at the high school. So this is a service that most of us picked up Medicaid, and we can get kids help that needs help.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Renier,
Yes.
Mrs. Song,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
I'd like to recommend I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Get a cane, pull me off.
Item 2. That's your
No.
Okay, just check. Purchase services agreement with Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities commencing August 1 and terminating on July 31, 2022. Attachment 7. Is there a motion? Robin moves. Second. Sue seconds. Discussion?
And we have multiple students that we work with the Department of the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities. And this is just our service. That's what it's a purchase service that we go through to have them help us.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Song,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mr. Renier,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes. Item 3, approve business associate agreement with Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities effective August 1st, 2021. Attachment 8. Is there a motion? So moved. Second. Robin seconds. Discussion?
We probably could have put this first before the last one, but this just means that we're going to work with them and they agree to work with us to help our students.
Roll call.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Song,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mr. Renier,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes. Item 4, to approve staff leave without pay. Brian DeLong, 3 full days. Holly Helber, 1 full day. Carla Walls, 1 full day. Ariel Croft, 2 full days. Jessica O'Brien, 1 full day. Bailey Berry, 2 full days. And Cynthia Chadwick, 1 full day. Is there a motion? Justin moves. Is there a second? Robin seconds. Discussion?
Can I ask, Mr. Dick, why do we need board approval? I noticed in previous years, we never had those, and then this year, we every month we've had those. Is that really to the level of the board?
Yes.
I was going to say,
That
I'm
is
referring
just-
from the spirit shop, this is new to us.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, I have
It's
never
just
seen
a
that before in all the years I've been
Compliance
here.
issue because they are
Okay.
under contract with us, and if they're not fulfilling that contract, you have to approve that they are not
The
getting paid
superintendent can't do
the
that.
full amount. So when the state and then other entities that they're working under a grant that be federal, when they check to make sure that we are compliant, they check their salary versus what we said we would pay them. And then any days that they don't get paid for have to be approved by the board as official days.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I was just
So
curious
that's-
why we've never done that before, and then all of a sudden this year we're seeing those on. Because it seems like it's something the superintendent could say yay or nay to, but they can't because it's a contract.
Right.
Okay.
Just when it affects their wages.
Got it.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Renier,
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes. Discussion items, facility update.
Well, I just wanted to bring up the fact that the track is virtually finished except for the lining part. We have Mr. Lee, I have discussed with Mr. Lee, he brought it up with the company. There's, I see lines or where they put pieces together, and I'm not happy with that. And they assure us before it's lined, you'll never notice there's a seam or there's where things are put together. So that Ben brought their attention. The retaining wall, I'm sure you've seen it. We had a great stand of grass and August got here and no rain and it's, so, but the wall looks great. Scoreboard is up and running. The new press box for the visitors is complete. So there's been a lot of things done. The new lights, we're nearly complete with everything except with the track. And it's a facility issue is our control project is, we're meeting Friday morning. That will be our go live date that we will start using that date to get our guaranteed savings from. We'll use that date for the next 12 months to determine the savings, since it's all been commissioned, all in place. So,
What was that date again?
October 8th, Friday.
Any discussion related to that? Appreciate the update.
So, is 77 Jim?
Yes, the wall was, yes, thank you. The wall was complete. They real happy when they brought things back the way it was. I mean, the grass, they did very little damage to the tree. The 77 gym has a little bit of a leak issue. I have asked someone to give us a price to re-roof it. It's been 21 or 22 years since it was last roofed, and with a flat roof, you get some of those issues that we're facing with the drains. Our maintenance man went up, I think he said he found 6 balls, 4 water bottles, a towel, you know, and then all gets washed to the drain. It's not a big deal this time of year, but when it freezes and expands and falls, that's when we get some of our roof issues. So he brought everything down, obviously, so. But the 77 wall itself is secure and in place and passed inspection and ready to go.
I was surprised to see the old scoreboard taken down above me the other night. Whoever did it, you couldn't even tell they had been there. I actually missed it going in and didn't notice, but when I was coming out of the game, I was like, oh.
We have a beautiful set of lungs there.
Yeah.
And just so everybody knows, we did not get rid of the bottom part of the scoreboard. It had all the championships on it. It's been saved. So.
What's the plan for those?
We're gonna put them on the back side of the visitors press box.
I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're working on it, so.
I was surprised they took the scoreboard down. I just thought, I don't know.
To remind everybody when they walk in.
Yeah.
Or we'll put them inside. No.
Private lighting, that's all.
I know, yes. We need lighting in general around the outside of the track.
Okay, anything else with the facilities? All right. Start out.
Okay, I provided you with 3 papers out of our forecasting analytics software. Couple things and I'm only gonna spend like 5 minutes on this. It's just kind of a pre-discussion on the forecast coming up for November. We will see quite a bit of change in the forecast, not from a net perspective, but from what's inside of it. Net-wise, it should not change much from what you saw in May, maybe a little bit here and there, but we should still be pretty much on target. When I say inside of it, it's because we've moved so many expenses from purchase services into salaries and benefits. So we'll see a big shift there. The revenue side, though, with the Fair School Funding Plan, so the new funding plan is where I wanted to focus on for this 5 minutes. One of the first things, and again, this is just for your benefit information, so as you're reading through the forecast, you have a little bit of background. Please feel free to call me if you have questions about it. I'll do the best to answer them, and if I can't get an answer, I'll certainly call for, find the answers for you. The first biggest change is how we count students, which in the past, we've counted all residential students in what's called ADM, average daily membership. We now will only be counting the kids that actually come to school. And why is that significant? So the first page, which has the bar graph on it that just says total ADM compared to district educated, and that's the term that the state will use, would be district educated, so we'll start hearing that instead of the buzzword ADM all the time. So fiscal year 21, our ADM was 1,509 students. That means that is how many kids lived in our district that we were responsible for, that we received funding for. Now, for fiscal year 21, which of course was last year, this is just for example purposes, our that district educated is only 1,424. For lack of a better term, a lot of EMIS coordinators and things will call it the butts and seats number. That means the number of kids are sitting in our classrooms being educated. So we have 1,424 for fiscal year 21. So why is that impactful?
Where's the difference?
Funding plan. What is the difference? There's 1,500 kids that live in our district that the state of Ohio says we're responsible to educate them. Some of them go to Lancaster, some of them go to Logan Elm, some of them are on a scholarship, some of them are at Fairfield Christian, that includes your open enrollment and everything.
But I thought if they went out of our district, the funds went with them.
They do, but not in the initial number. They go through the transfers that we do. So the formula gives us the money, and then we transfer the money back and forth between districts and funds and stuff. If that makes sense.
That's what we were doing.
That's what we were doing.
And that was with the 1,509.
With the 1,500.
So we got all that money in, and then we sent it out if the student went out.
Correct.
So now what are we gonna do instead?
We have 1,424 kids that are here,
That are butts and seats.
and we're not transferring any money. The money
So
stays
if
with
a
us.
student,
there's
if they
no-
say they opened enrolled somewhere else, that money wouldn't come to us and we filter it to the school.
Correct.
It'll go straight to them.
the school. So that's why I'm saying open enrollment goes away.
But so how does that really negatively impact us then? Because it's the same money, only we're not getting it and sending it, it's just being sent on its own.
Correct. And for us, it's not gonna negatively impact us.
Okay,
Okay, so, and that's exactly the whole point of this discussion of what exactly does that mean to what we're gonna call our foundation payment. That's why I was hoping we would get one before, so I could actually show to you and say, here's the old one, here's the new one, and here's why this is different. So on the pages following that, you will see the revenue and then the expenses. So we have our ADM's 1,509, the state funds 1,509, and then we have expenditures that come out of that in the old system. So some of those things are, and they're listed down through here, your community school transfer, we don't have any STEM school, the Peterson scholarship, open enrollment, there's more on the next page that you can read, things that you're used to seeing as deductions that come out of our foundation and are sent to other schools through the state foundation system, but that's, so basically what it means is we don't have any expenses And at the end of the day, we're gonna be actually net where we thought in fiscal year 22, we were gonna be about even because we don't have the expenses, because I was only looking at the revenue and explaining the revenue side. I wasn't looking at the expenses side. We should be net positive $507,000. So it actually is a slight bump up. So the final graph that I gave you is a year-over-year change, which shows that, revenue is up 507,000 because our expenses will be less 783,000. So the difference, you understand what I mean by net? And then year over year, it's about the same because that's where it'll stay. So under the Fair School Funding Plan 2, when we go over the forecast, remember that this is only this is 2 years. And then we have assumed for the forecast that it will be reapproved at the next biennial budget to continue it. But there's a chance, as Brandon would tell you, that that might not happen. So all we can do is make our best guess and go with that. So.
But overall, where you say, expenses are decreasing more than revenues are decreasing, that's basically the.
Yeah,
sort of
the
something
picture that we're
yeah.
looking at, and that's what will be included on the revenue side of our forecast. And again, remember, these are general fund monies only. So we have, of course, like 23 other funds that we use, but this is general fund only, so it'd be the 001 fund.
And if we increase the number of district educated students, that would also positively impact.
It would positively impact us. We are on a guarantee, so to speak. So we would have to be at about 100 kids before we really actually start feeling the benefit of that. But we will.
100 additional?
Okay. Yeah.
That's it.
So the good news is that as we have fluctuated for the last couple of years, and that was to the next point that I wanted to make. And speaking with Mr. Dick and speaking with our consultants at Forecast Analytics, being in Fairfield County, we basically are going to forecast the net zero increase or decrease because our trend tells us we could possibly decrease some students if you look at the 3 years past or even the 5 years past. But because we're in Fairfield County, which is in the top 3 growing counties in the state of Ohio, there's a distinct possibility we're going to increase in students by no other reason than we're in Fairfield County. I will tell you too, this is a reappraisal year, spring of 22. Right now, the state average is 17.5 increase on property values. And again, we did 3 years ago. Excuse me, but Fairfield County being Fairfield County, they're predicting about 20% increase in property values for the county. So I'll shoot the messenger. I mean, that from an economic standpoint, that's a positive thing because you have a very economically vital, a lot of vitality in the area. That's a good thing. But from a property owner, of course, it's a bad thing because you think there's going to be more taxes. So, but, are there any questions? Any more questions? No? Okay. That's all I have for that. Hope that was helpful.
It's the only other discussion items we've got. Anybody else? Not then, I will ask for a motion to enter into executive session to get the claim against staff member and consider it. And those, second? 2 seconds. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mrs. Young? Yes. Mrs. Song?
Yeah.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes. Action item. There will be no action afterwards, so.
We take 5.
Yes.
Mr. Boswell, did you say
Which button is it? Just end stream?
Yep.